How y'all doing, man? It's your boy Thing Goes back again for another video. And today I'm going to be making another video about one of my favorite franchises, man. You already know, Deadly Class. So, I said on the group on Facebook, the hashtag Save Deadly Class, the Deadly Class group. I posted on there that I was going to be going back through season 1, watching each episode, reviewing it, and also doing comparisons between the comic and the show, talking about things that they changed or things that I like that they changed, things that I wish they kept the same, so on and so forth. I was thinking about watching them live, but I've already seen the first season so many fucking times that, you know what I'm saying, like I don't really know how to properly articulate and make it interesting when watching something that I done seen so many times before. So, I ended up throwing that live idea out the window, but I'm gonna try to make it more interesting and cool, with cool information here and there, talking about a couple things that I personally know about the comic and the show. So anyway, without further ado, let's get to it, man. So the first episode, simply titled Pilot, it covers roughly the first 3 issues of the comic book series. Now, there's a lot of creative liberties in there, but I'm not angry at all, man, because Rick Remender, he said himself that the comic book is kind of like a rough draft, and with the show, he was able to really flex his muscles and do things that he wasn't allowed to do in the comic. I believe the direct thing that he said was that with comic books, you have to move stories and arcs a whole lot faster than you would in a show. You don't have that luxury to take more time with the characters and kind of like slowly build up to stuff. You kind of just have to have stuff happen a whole lot quicker and fast, which is why Deadly Class moves at such a brisk pace. It's kind of like a fucking acid trip, man. It's crazy. But I love the comic book for that. Don't get me wrong. Now, the show stars Benjamin Wadsworth as Marcus Arguello. He does an amazing job portraying this character. Look just like him. It's crazy. If I was to think of Marcus as a real person, this is definitely what I think he would look like. And also what they do with the first episode, if they try to introduce you to the character of Marcus, similar to the comic with the voiceover, with him detailing, stuff about his life, his views on the world, how he feels about things. This guy thinks about stuff all the time. He doesn't speak out loud, but of course we hear his thoughts, and he thinks all the time. Like he overanalyzes every little thing. There's even a line about that in the comic where he says he overanalyzes every little interaction or every little thing. And, it's kind of like makes him feel a little crazy. But, that's who he is, man. That's what he does. Now, Marcus was the only survivor, sort of, and you'll find out later, of the Sunset Boys Home that was burned down in his escape. Now, the boys' home was just a sweatshop, like I mentioned in earlier videos. The guy was pretty much getting tortured, being forced to do manual labor, and pretty much in prison the whole time he was in that boys' home. It was not a place where you would want disenfranchised youth to grow up. Definitely not. And so he went from one bad situation to another. He also explains how his mother and father were killed by Barbara Salinger. She is a schizophrenic, suicidal, crazy bitch who was let loose into the city when Reagan actually cut funds to a lot of the mentally ill hospitals and like stuff like that. Like you said, a lot of the hospitals and a lot of the mental facilities across the city, funding got cut, so a lot of these people got let out into the street. And Barbara Salinger, she climbed to the top of Court Towers when they were walking throughout the day, just enjoying their day, and landed right on Marcus's parents, just inches in front of them, and they died right in front of him. And right before that happened, Marcus's father told him something that he remembers, distinctly. But his father told him about how he has to go out, bro. He got to make life what it is, man. He can't just sit around and, you know, he like either you make your life. It's good advice, bro. He like either you get up and do something with your life, bro, or you don't, bro. Like life isn't a dress rehearsal. I love that line. That's definitely from the comics. This whole scene is stripped straight from the comic. They actually use the art from the comic and they animate it, which is one thing that I really love about Deadly Class. I love how they do that in every episode. There's always like these strong references to the source material where they literally just rip out pages like artwork directly taken from the comic, bro. And they, you feel me, they tell like maybe a section of the story that needs to be told in comic book form and they animate it. So I thought that was really cool how they do that. But you see Marcus, man, he's homeless, he's on the street. He's wanted by all the police in the city for over a dozen murders. The Sunset Boys home, when it burned down, all the other kids that were in there died except for Marcus. He actually escaped, but they think that Marcus is responsible for the fire and for all of the children dying that day. So he has all the police after him. And he's homeless. He doesn't have anywhere to sleep. Don't have nothing to eat. He even said in the opening and also in the comic, which is, you know, something that they more or less kept the same. The whole opening, they really stayed accurate and true to the source material. With him saying how all he ever wanted in his life was the mundane shit that people take for granted. You know, somewhere to sleep. You know, like some, you know, not to be alone, bro. Know where his next meal coming from. You feel me? And you see Saya is watching him because, like I also mentioned, because of what he did at the Sunset Boys home, or, you know, what he didn't do, you know what I'm saying? You find out later, but, you know, what people think he did anyway, gets him noticed by King's Dominion, Master Lin. And, you know, he pretty much wants to bring him into his school. And, shit. Sorry for that, guys. The video cut out on the previous one. But I'm back, just going to continue talking about the first episode of the Deadly Class series and comparing it to the first couple of issues of the comic. But yeah, man, like I said, so the first episode, it primarily covers like the first 3 issues of the comic. I was talking about how the opening, you know, how the characters started to notice Marcus because of what he did at the Sunset Boys home, or, you know, lack thereof. Master Lin taking a notice in him. We have Saya following him around the city as he is just doing his thing, and they're about to make their move to try to like bring him inside of King's Dominion and stuff like that. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that I feel like even though they, for the most part, kept everything in the source material accurate in the show, one thing I really didn't like was how they did the overall chase between the police and Marcus. In the comic, it was way more intense. It was way better. It was lit. I was on the edge of my seat a whole lot more. In the show, they kind of just breezed past it. And I understand it was because of budget. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a very low budget show. They did the best they could with what they had. So they didn't really do any like super heavy car chases or nothing like that with hella crashes and shit. That's how it happened in the comic. When Saya pulled up to Marcus and turned her bike to the side and told him to get on, that shot is exactly from the comic. Like that whole shot is exactly from the comic. Only it happened in an alleyway in the comic book. It didn't happen in a garage. But she pulled up to Marcus on her red motorcycle. She turned to the side. She looked at him and she was just like, get on. And Marcus actually got on in the comic book and a car chase ensued. It was pretty fucking intense, bro. And Saya did this epic ass move where she turned around and she told Marcus to keep driving the motorcycle, and she jumped off the fucking motorcycle, bruh, and just jumped in, like, bruh, she dove, nigga, like she just jumped inside of the fucking police car that was behind them. She jumped through the glass, bro, and she kicked the fuck out the nigga that was driving, grabbed the she kicked the fuck out the nigga that was in the passenger seat, bruh, and then she kicked him out the car. Then while she was sitting in the car, the dude had, or it might, I don't know if it was the passenger seat or the driver's seat. I think it might have been the passenger seat, because I remember the guy that was driving, soon as she finished knocking the other dude out of the car, he looked at her and got his gun out and he was about to shoot her, but then Saya just calmly pointed like to the front of the car, like let him know, like, bro, keep your eyes on the road. And before you knew it, this dude ended up crashing hard as hell into a telephone pole, and Saya jumped out in a roll and came out unscathed. Marcus didn't really know how to control the motorcycle, so he kept going super fast, crashed, fucked his leg up. And he was just like, oh, fuck. I love his reactions in the comic, bro. Like, damn, I wish we got more of that in the show. Like, he still had a lot of that in the show, but in the comic, but he really be like, oh, fuck, shit, fuck, bro. Like, he really be going in. But nah, so he was about to crash the motorcycle, and he was just like, fuck, and he fell off, fucked his leg up. And he ended up limping his way to, like, I think, like the back of a store or something like that. And then the cop that was chasing him, he was just going to execute him right there, bro. He pulled out the gun. Marcus was like, I'll surrender. He like, nigga, ain't no surrender, nigga. He was about to just shoot him, just bust Marcus, kill him right there. But Saya came behind him and actually killed him with her katana. And Saya looked like she was kind of visibly distraught by it. You know, even though this girl is an assassin and, you know, valedictorian, she probably killed a lot of niggas, she looked kind of distraught by doing this. It shows that she probably don't like killing despite how good she is at it. And that's another little detail that I really like. I don't know why they cut that out. She even mentioned that. Like she even mentioned that in the comics. She was just like, because of you, I had to kill that cop. Like I wasn't even like trying to do all that, bro. Like you made me kill that nigga. That's on you. Like they didn't even put none of that in the opening. I feel like that would have made for a much stronger introduction to her character and just to the entire King's Dominion like idea as a whole. You know, I think it would have been a much better opening. But like I said, I understand they probably didn't do it because of the budget, time constraints, stuff like that. Sometimes with shows, they trim the fat in order to fit in what they can. And for what they lacked in this scene, they definitely made up for it in other scenes. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of characters that get more development, a lot of story arcs that get expanded upon, or just new characters or new story beats that just get introduced out of the blue that were never in the comic, just to add further context or further development to characters that we already know that are in the comic. So, you know what I'm saying? For what they didn't do in this scene, they definitely made up for it in future scenes. So it isn't that big of a deal, but it is a little minor thing that I want to point out that did kind of bug me a bit, especially if you know the source material. Now, when they get to King's Dominion, Marcus, you know what I'm saying, he's saying how the school is and stuff like that. All of that is pretty much kept exactly the same, especially him walking through the hall, him going to his locker, him finding that little stuffed animal of a kid with a knife in the back of it saying child killer. Because, you know, everybody thinks that he killed a whole bunch of kids and shit. Like everybody thinks that he massacred hella kids in the Sunset Boys home. That's how he got his reputation. Now, one thing that they did change in the comic book, Chico is actually the one that approaches Marcus first and asks him if he's affiliated and if he would like him to join his clique, the Satovatos. And he also tells him like, bro, some rep you got, bruh. Half the class, they want to like, they, you know what I'm saying? They scared shitless. The other class, the other half, they want to check and see if you're rep for real, bruh. Now, in the show, Maria is the one that said this. And then she actually gets attacked by Chico for talking to Marcus. Marcus, he then pushes Chico, which kind of like starts this rivalry between them. And that never happened. That never happened in the comic book. Now, that's one thing that I do want to say that I like that they expanded on in the show. The whole back and forth, kind of like the rivalry between Chico and Marcus was done a whole lot better in the show than they did in the comic. In the comic, Chico didn't really get that much time. You only saw him in that part right there when he first tried to get Marcus to join the clique. And then Marcus was like, nah, I'm good. And then, you know, he just wiped his hands with the shit. But then after that, you didn't see him no more until they went to Vegas. And then you saw that Chico was actually following Maria to Vegas because he knew that she was up to no good, trying to cheat on him and shit like that with Marcus. So she ended up following, you know what I'm saying? You already know what happened with Vegas, bro. That's a little too far ahead. I don't want to get there yet. We just talking about episode 1. But yeah, Chico didn't really have barely any development in the comic, but he had way more in the show. So that's another example of what I was talking about previously, of how they, you know, just added a little bit more meat where they took some away. But yeah, so anyway, another thing was we got a little bit more of Miss DeLuca. Miss DeLuca, I think she had both eyes. Sexy as fuck too, man. I forgot her name. Hey, Corey, you know the actress that played Miss DeLuca? She bad as fuck, bro.
I don't know her, but I know it.
You said she was on Supernatural and shit too? Yeah, I can't think.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, she's sexy as hell, man. I can't think of her name. But yeah, we got to see a brilliant portrayal of Miss DeLuca. Now, what's weird is that I don't remember Miss DeLuca being in charge of like hand-to-hand combat classes. You know, that was Mr. Zane, but they do have Mr. Zane in the story, but I guess he does like a different form of hand-to-hand combat from Miss DeLuca. I mean, all of them know how to kill, so it ain't really that surprising. But it seemed like Miss DeLuca in the comic book, she was in charge of a more traditional classroom, but in the show, she has like her own dojo and shit, and she's really like teaching, you know what I'm saying, like hand-to-hand combat and, you know, grapples and all that shit. Not really a big deal, but I thought I should point that out. Pretty cool. Sexy as hell. Love Miss DeLuca. And she didn't have her eye gone. Like, you know, in the comic book, she got an eye patch, but in the show, she had both eyes. I was thinking that if the show got to continue, like Rick Remender, I'm sure he wanted, and God, I hope that it does. I was thinking that maybe what they would do is try to expand on her character as well, similar to what they do with Master Lin, and probably show how she lost her eye. Because in the comic book, she already doesn't have one eye. You know, she already wearing an eye patch. So that'd be pretty cool if they was to do it like that. I don't know if that's what they were planning, but pretty cool all the same. Yeah. So after that, let me see what else was going on. Oh yeah, big thing that they changed, bro. Big thing they changed I wanted to talk about. So Marcus got into it with Chico. When he did, Chico called him out and said that after school they was gonna fight and shit. He was just like, bro, after this, he was like, after school today, bro, me and you gonna go on a date, bro. Wear something nice because I'm gonna bury your ass in it. You know what I'm saying? And Marcus think that he just acting tough. He boasting because the rules are Master Lin doesn't let another kid kill another student, especially not on school grounds. But you ain't to harm another student or your ass get expelled, right? So he thought that he was safe under those rules. But when he ended up talking to, when he ended up meeting Lex and Petra for the first time, Billy, Lex, and Petra, they all talked to Marcus and they let him know, like, bruh, Master Lin don't give a shit about the rules, bruh. I mean, not Master Lin. They said Chico don't give a shit about the rules, bruh. This dude is a real cartel enforcer. Like, he real deal, bruh. This nigga is gonna kill your ass, bro. Marcus gets scared as fuck, makes his way to Saya to try to talk to her about what's going on. She lets him know straight up, like, bro, you thought this was a game, bro? Like, do you have any idea where you are, bro? Like, kids really get killed in here, bro. Kids die, bro. This ain't no fucking joke, bro. This ain't no regular high school, bro. And he tries to run away and escape, but then he sees Maria has a black eye. Now, this makes Marcus, this compels him to just go out and just, you know, just catch fade with Chico, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just literally just punch his ass, bro. And I thought that was cool. You feel me? And they end up like going back and forth at each other. And Chico actually kind of respected Marcus for the fact that he came at him and got that first lick in like that. You're probably still gonna kill him, you know what I'm saying, if Master Lin didn't stop him. But he kind of respected him though. He kind of fucked with him off that. And that, you know, that was another thing I kind of liked, how they added that all in there. None of that was in the comics at all. And what's also revealed is that Maria, she was never hit. I mean, I'm pretty sure she got beat by Chico, but she never got her eye blacked at that time that Marcus had saw it. That was actually makeup. She was putting on a facade to try to set up Marcus to kill Chico. You know, because she wants to get Chico out of the picture because, you know, she doesn't really like him and all that stuff. But yeah, man, this girl did some grimy shit. I mean, I know there's a lot of Maria fans out there, bro, but I really don't like Maria, bro. She way too toxic, way too crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like her. It's weird. I like her as a badass character and everything. And you know, this is Deadly Class. Most of the characters toxic in some kind of way, shape, or form. I mean, hell, look at Marcus. The nigga is a narcissist. He's fucking negative as hell. The guy only thinks about himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I mean, he got all kind of flaws, bro. But at the same time, and he's probably a psychopath too, if I'm keeping it real. He on that borderline. But that's the reason why I love Deadly Class, because these characters are so flawed, and I really enjoy like following them and you know, watching their story and stuff like that. But Maria though, you know, Maria, she way too flawed for me, bro. Like, I like her fight scenes and shit, but that girl be getting them in way too much trouble. But yeah, so she set up Marcus to pretty much kill Chico. She was lying about getting beaten, all that shit. You know, that was a big change. Never happened in the comic at all. Not even close, bro. Not even close. Another thing that they did in the comic that I really like, and they didn't do in the show, and I don't know why. Is so same thing did happen. This is the same thing that happened. They got an assignment to go out and kill someone who they felt deserved it, right? And now this is what I don't remember. I don't remember if in the comic if the black arts teacher told them to, because it wasn't Master Lin. In the show, it was Master Lin that told them to do it, but in the comic, it was a completely different dude. But I don't know if this nigga said kill somebody, like just kill somebody and you'll pass, or if he said kill somebody who deserves it. I don't know. The only thing that has me thinking that he probably did say that is because later on in the comic, when they do kill someone, Marcus straight up tell Willie, he was like, bro, we killed somebody that deserved it, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was a little bit more like, it was way more vague. You know what I'm saying? And you was, it was, I love the issue because it kind of like makes you wonder like, damn, bro, like did Marcus do the right thing or what, bro? Like did he, like, was that shit justified? You know what I'm saying? Like in the show, they made this character called Rory, this homeless dude that was a bully, and he used to bully around Marcus, take his shit, and he would just kill other homeless people in the area where they lived. And because Rory knew that the cops didn't care about dead homeless, so he kind of just did whatever the fuck he wanted in that little community where they lived. And he ended up bullying Marcus, and he stole like a picture that he had of his parents when he was a kid and all that stuff. So Marcus had a grudge against this dude. He was a piece of shit, and he deserved to get whatever happened to him, like whatever came his way. So you didn't really feel that bad when he got killed. But in the comic, it's done in such a way that really make you wonder, like, God damn, bro, like, damn, bro, like shit, bro, should he have did that shit, bro? Like, I like how it happened, man. So, Marcus, he ended up giving his shoes to a homeless dude in the beginning of the issue that had some fucked up feet, right? And Marcus, he woke up and the guy was taking his bag and taking his shoes. Marcus was about to beat that nigga ass, but he was like, hey, bro, like, take the shoes, man. Just give me the bag. Give me the notebook back and shit. So he got his bag. He gave the dude his shoes. You feel me? And later on, when they went out to kill somebody that, you know, to find somebody to kill that they thought deserved it, they heard about a guy that was crazy and, you know, was like, did a lot of fucked up shit or whatever. So they went to go look for him to kill him. Come to find out, that's the same homeless guy that Marcus gave his shoes to earlier in the chapter. That's another thing that they didn't even put in the show, like him giving his shoes to that homeless dude or whatever. They didn't even have that dude in there. So they didn't, I don't think they killed him. No, they didn't kill that guy. They didn't kill that guy. He got away. But they ended up going to talk to this homeless guy that Marcus was cool with, and they talked a lot. He was like a war vet. And this homeless guy ended up just breaking down and just telling them this story about like a lot of stuff he went through, this, that, and the third. You know, how his homies had got killed in a fire, all the stuff that he's seen and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And he actually talked about stuff that he did in the war that is terrible. But you can see that he is a new guy now. He's a whole lot more humble. He's learned a lot. He's older. And as an OG living on the streets, he has really learned about like life, I guess. And you can see he's not a bad person anymore, even though he might have done bad things prior. And in the middle of him just talking, Marcus gets up and leave, right? Willie's still sitting down talking to the dude. Because, you know, him and Willie was doing the assignment together. That's accurate. They kept that in there. And in the middle of Willie talking to the dude, Marcus just come up behind him and just whack him upside his head with a 2x4 and just straight up kill that nigga, bro. And it was such a surprise because he wasn't a threat. He wasn't trying to kill Willie. He wasn't trying to do nothing. Like Willie and the dude was just talking, and then Marcus just came up behind and just split his head open. And Willie was just like, what the fuck, man? Like what the hell, dude? You know what I'm saying? And then Marcus just straight up told him, he was just like, bruh, like, you know, I killed somebody who I thought deserved it. You heard all the shit he said, right? He wasn't a good person, right? Right? But you know what I'm saying? It was cool. Bro, man, what the fuck is this noise, man? Shit. Corey, what is this noise, bro? God damn. Like this shit, this shit going crazy, bro. Like, what is this shit, bro? I keep trying to talk over it. Like, hold on, man. Like, bro.
It's the server, it's Discord, Daddy.
Like, god damn. But anyway, man, so like I was saying, bro, so Willie, you know, he just surprised. He just like, bro, what you do, bro? And Marcus just like, I killed somebody I thought deserved it. He deserved it, right? Yeah, he deserved it, right? And you know what I'm saying? What made that shit so interesting was that you could see that Marcus was kind of trying to justify the fact that he killed that old nigga. And it's you don't know if that was the right thing or not, bro. It's like this moral ambiguity. I don't know if I said that word right, but you get what I'm saying. That's what made the story a whole lot more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And the character of Marcus, bro. But in the show, they just straight up make the homeless dude an asshole, so you don't really feel nothing when he killed him. I hated that change. I did not like that. But then they follow it up in a future episode 2, when Marcus goes to visit Rory at the graveyard site, and there's this very good talk scene between him and Master Lin with some good music playing in the back. So you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a take and give relationship, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, bro. But I think I would have preferred to see what happened in the comic, though. Also, last thing I wanted to touch on before I end this video, because it's starting to get pretty long, is they did a much better job in the comic book, in my opinion, with the friendship and the relationship between Willie and Marcus. You can really see their bond. You can really tell that they're close, that they are really like best friends. And the show did a good job too, don't get me wrong. But I feel like the comic did a much better job of showing their bond and how they really just became homies, bro. They didn't even have the scene in the show, which I thought was an iconic scene. I thought they had to put that in the show, but they didn't. I was like, what? Was when Marcus and Willie was having fun, running, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, like racing each other and shit. And then they ended up having to jump over this huge rooftop that had this big ass gap in it. Marcus did it first. He made it. Then Willie did it, but he didn't make it. He was about to fall, and then Marcus ended up reaching down and saving him, like pulling him up, and then one of his shoes fell off, and he was just like, oh shit, oh fuck. That was a very good scene, and I felt like it kind of like cemented their bond even more. It was cool, man. You know what I'm saying? And they had like this talk scene when they was talking about music they like and shit like that. Just a lot of stuff that just wasn't put in the show that I thought was great for the comic, and it would have been great for the show. Like I really was expecting to see a lot of that stuff, and none of that stuff popped up. So that's another thing I really didn't like. But yeah, man, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Sure, I probably missed one or two things, but let me know. Lex, he was introduced in the first episode in a way that he wasn't in the comic. Same thing with Petra. Petra was pretty much introduced way later in the story than she was in the comic than she was in the show. But I love what they did with Lex and Petra. They made their characters a whole lot more realized, a whole lot more likable, especially Lex. You heard this, man? He's gonna kill the bloody kipper. You know what I'm saying? I fucking love Lex, bro. And yeah, pretty much that's it. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I might have missed one or two things, but I think I covered all the main stuff. But yeah, that's the review of Deadly Class episode 1. If I was to give episode 1 a review, like score, as far as a pilot episode introducing you to the characters, the story and stuff like that, give it a solid 8. The comic issues 1 through 3 that the first episode covers, I like that better than I do the show, but I feel like both of them complement off each other very well. One does something better while the other one does something better. So you know what I'm saying? You got to have one. You can't have one without the other. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, check out Deadly Class. Watch the series. It's on Netflix in other countries and shit, but I don't think it's on Netflix in the US yet. If you want to watch it, you can just go online and watch it. Only has 10 episodes in the first season. Hopefully soon we will get a follow-up season 2. And the comic, you can just read that anywhere. Check it out. Let me know what you think about the series. Let me know what you think about this video. And let me know your thoughts on the topic. Comment down below. Subscribe, like, share. You feel me? Dislike if you don't like it. I welcome all feedback, bro. Let's talk about it, man. I hope you're having a good day, night, wherever you are. Until next time, peace. #Save Deadly Class.